This is the Weardale and Teesdale network for Train Simulator. The route was released on the 25th of June 2015 and retails for $24.99. The Weardale and Teesdale network recreates main lines and branch lines around the northeast of England as they were between 1950 and 1960, just before the beach enclosures. The route features almost all of the 100 miles of track between Durham City, Darlington, Middleton and Teesdale, and Wearhead. The route was developed by Derek Siddle. The lore behind this route is totally fascinating. It all started when Derek built a model of Bishop Auckland signal box. As a child, Derek would go to a nearby footbridge with his father to observe the trains. It was never Derek's intention to build a route. He just wanted to recreate the Bishop Auckland Triangle, but as it happened, the route was expanded to a 5-mile radius in order to include areas that were personal to him and his family. Following a suggestion from Adam Lucas and the fact that Derek used to go fishing in the Dales, he decided to continue route building, and with Adam's help, the Wearhead branch was eventually formed. Then an extension to Darlington came about, as Derek was a fan of Darlington Football Club. He would often travel by train from Bishop Auckland to watch matches. Then a suggestion from Robert Payne commenced the building of another arm via West Auckland to Barnard Castle. It then became pretty apparent that trains also used to travel from Darlington to Barnard Castle, so that route was also incorporated. Wanting to go a little bit further, Robert sneakily decided to add another 10 miles to Middleton in Teesdale, much to Derek's surprise. After much debate, it was finally decided that an extension to Durham was in order. When engineering works were taking place on the more direct East Coast Main Line, the rather indirect route around the network was used as a diversion for trains. As you can see, a route as expansive as this required a lot of research. Development in earnest started as early as 2008, and Derek made many trips to go out and take the hundreds of photographs that would be required for reference purposes. It goes without saying that the route wouldn't have been completed had it not been for the assistance that Derek had received from his friends and colleagues at Dovetail Games. The scenery and high asset count alone makes this route a true labour of love, and it shows. The track is non-electrified, and the formation of which varies in each location. Signalling is based off LNER infrastructure, with semaphore signalling throughout. There is, however, no automatic warning system fitted, so you'll need to know what these signals mean and check the accompanying manual if you are not sure. In terms of traction and rolling stock, this route features a detailed and varied collection. Like the route and surrounding areas itself, the trains that feature were very prominent to Derek's childhood. These take the form of a Class 08 shunter, Class 25 and Class 37 locomotives, and a Class 101 diesel multiple unit. The coaching stock consists of Mark I blood and custard. As for wagons, there is a plentiful supply, and we have a 21-ton mineral hopper, 16-ton mineral wagon, 5-plank mineral wagon, 6-wheel milk tanker, press flow bulk powders wagon, 20-ton bitumen tank wagon, 20-ton towed e-brake van, and a 10-ton cattle van. Also new to the route is a diesel brake tender slug in BR green livery. All of the rolling stock show good details and are perfect additions to the route. Back to traction, and let's talk about the Class 25. The Class 25 is a new model and exclusive to the route. The Class 25 were built by British Rail at Crewe, Darlington and Derby between 1961 and 1967. 327 locomotives were produced in total and were originally designated as Sulzer Type 2s, Sulzer being the make of engine that powered the locomotives. The class was primarily designed for freight work, but a significant number were fitted with boilers, allowing them to haul passenger trains. They could be seen across much of the network. Because of how common they were, They were apparently nicknamed rats by enthusiasts. Drivers also used to call them spluts, owing to their habit of spluttering when they broke down, which they often did. The overall model quality of the Class 25 is good, and it shows some distinctive details such as the head code box and the grills on either side. The running sounds are okay, and they appear to have been taken from a Sulzer, but it's unclear whether they have been taken from a Class 25 or not. In terms of functionality, the train has basic cab and instrument lights, in addition to working exterior lights and wipers. The only thing that bothers me is that only the low note of the horn is available on the spacebar. There is no high note available. The train itself seems to handle quite nicely. The acceleration and braking appears to be responsive, and the train is perfectly drivable. The Class 37 is a very common item of DLC in Train Simulator, with several different versions of it available. Externally, this particular 37 has some good details. I particularly like the look of the head code box and the gritty application of the livery. The cab, sounds and handling characteristics have all been recycled from the European Community asset version of this loco. The engine sounds are perfectly adequate, save for the horn, which is looped and only controlled from the spacebar. Functionality wise, the Class 37 is the same as the Class 25, minus working instrument lights. The O8 shunter looks absolutely stunning. Externally and internally, the loco shows some prominent features. As with steam engines in the simulator, shunting and freight aren't really my forte, but the O8 appears to handle very nicely, and it sounds okay too. Having the O8 certainly adds to the variety of such a complex package. Last but by no means least, we have the Class 101 DMU. There's also a twin pack available which bundles the Class 105 DMU. Both units have good individual details, both externally and internally. Driving wise, the DMUs share the same functions, sounds and physics. It's worth noting that the DMUs have a manual gearbox, so you need to actively change gear whilst driving the train. It's similar to driving a car, except that you don't need to press down a clutch pedal. The changing of gear is simply done by shutting off power, waiting a couple of seconds and shifting up with E or down with Shift and E. They both share the same running sounds, which are actually produced by Richard Armstrong of Armstrong Powerhouse fame. The default sounds are okay, but the horn sounds very weak and measly. There is also a lot of rattle coming from the engine. I would strongly recommend purchasing the first gen DMU sound pack from Armstrong Powerhouse, as it not only improves the running sounds, but it also employs some advanced scripting to make the units handle in a more prototypical fashion. In terms of scenarios, 7 are included with the route, and you get to experience it in varying times and weather conditions. There are plenty more available for free on the Steam Workshop. Overall, I would thoroughly recommend the Weardale and Teesdale network. It's certainly very refreshing to see the railways in a different time period, and this route gives us an idea of what these lines used to be like in their heyday prior to the Beeching report. If you liked watching this video and would like to stay up to date, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. To ensure that a video reaches your subscription feed, please turn on notifications by clicking on YouTube's notification bell. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter for further updates. Thank you for watching and take care.